I moved into the apartment on February 9th. Not that the date matters. I only remember because the wind that night felt like knives. And the building manager forgot to leave the heat on. The place was on the second floor of a crumbling old brick fourplex. Nothing fancy. A little outdated, but I didn't care. I just needed a place of my own. Somewhere no one would know me. Somewhere quiet. I had 2 tall windows in the living room. Old wooden frames. Single pane. They let in a constant draft. And those curtains. Heavy. Beige. Dusty. They dragged across a metal rod with that slow, sickening sound. Psht! Like someone shuffling across a hospital floor. The first night I closed them tight, even double-checked. I remembered the way the rod stuck on the left side. I had to tug. I made sure they overlapped. I stood there afterward, staring at my reflection in the glass. The next morning, they were open. Just a sliver, enough to let in the morning light. Enough to make me question myself. But then it happened again, and again. So I tested it. I wedged a broomstick across the window ledge, took a photo. Time stamped. The next morning, the curtain was open, just slightly. The broomstick, still in place, unmoved. But the fabric had parted around it. That was the first time I felt real fear. I stayed up one night. No lights, no sound. Just me, sitting in the hallway, watching. At 3:07 a.m., I heard it, that slow sliding sound, the curtain, shifting. But nothing moved, except a floorboard creaking near the window. Then silence. The next morning, I found a smudge on the glass. An oily handprint, too small for an adult, too large for a child. The fingers were too long. I called the landlord. He brushed it off, said it was probably the wind. Old building, loose windows. But when I asked about the last tenant, he paused, then said, "She called about the curtain too. She left. No notice. Left everything behind. Just gone." That night I nailed the curtains shut. 10 nails, maybe more. It didn't move that night. But the next morning, I found one of the nails on the floor. Bent, like it had been pulled out. Or pushed. And now there were scratches on the wall. Thin gouges. Erratic. Like fingernails dragged across plaster. I started sleeping with my bedroom door closed. Lights low. But it didn't matter. One night, I heard it again. Not the curtain, the rod. Shht, metal to metal. Then footsteps, soft, bare, crossing the floor. They crossed outside my bedroom door. The knob turned, just slightly, then stopped. The next morning, the curtain was gone. Gone. Rod, nails, fabric, everything. Just an empty window. I moved an hour later. A few weeks passed. Then I met someone who used to live there. She said her roommate also complained about the curtain. She found her bedroom empty one morning, untouched, curtain open. She never came back. I've never returned. But sometimes I hear it. That soft sound of fabric sliding. Psht. And I think someone was always there, watching, waiting, right behind the curtain. I was driving down the road, alone, enjoying the quiet. The kind of drive where it's just you, the road, and a bit of freedom. It was late August. The sun was beginning to set, casting a soft golden light over everything. It should have been the perfect end to a long day. But then, my GPS started acting weird. I don't know what happened. It just froze. The map switched on its own, and I thought, all right, just a glitch. So, I took a turn. Just a small detour, thinking I'd be back on track in no time. I don't know when it started to feel wrong, but it did. The road got narrower. The trees on either side started to feel like they were closing in on me. It was quiet. Too quiet. No other cars. No signs of life. It felt like the road went on forever. Eventually, I came upon a small gas station. The only sign of life for miles. I figured I'd stop and ask for directions. My tire was flat anyway, so it seemed like a good idea. When I got out of the car, I could feel the weight of the quiet pressing on me. The gas station was dim, with just one light flickering by the door. It smelled like gasoline and something else, a little stale. Inside, there was a guy standing behind the counter. He was the only person there. His face was serious, almost detached. I asked him if he could help me, and without saying much, he nodded. He barely looked at me as he fixed the tire. The silence between us was unnerving. I tried to make conversation, but he just gave me one-word answers. It felt like he was avoiding eye contact on purpose. I had to keep reminding myself that maybe it was just me overthinking it, but the way he looked at me without speaking felt wrong. After he finished, I thanked him, trying to brush off the tension that had built up. I couldn't help but glance back at him as I got into my car. He was still standing there, watching me leave. The feeling of being watched lingered, but I drove away, trying to ignore it. The road to the cabin was just as deserted as the gas station. The sun had dipped behind the horizon now, and it was getting dark. I was starting to feel a little off, like something was just wrong. The further I drove, the more isolated it felt. No lights, no cars, just me and the road. I told myself I was being paranoid, that it was nothing, just a quiet little area, right? When I finally reached the cabin, I felt a strange relief. It was secluded, tucked away in the woods, just what I'd been looking for. But something about it felt off. The house itself was fine, nothing too strange, just old and peaceful. I set my stuff down and settled in, but I still couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't quite right. I was here alone, but it was like the air itself was thick with unease. The quiet, the shadows that seemed just a little too dark. I tried to shake it off. I went to bed early, hoping to sleep it off, but then I heard it. A loud bang, like something upstairs. It stopped as soon as I turned to look. I convinced myself it was just the house settling, but when I checked, there was nothing. Still, the feeling didn't go away. The next day, I felt the same unease. Things started happening. My belongings, small things, were out of place. I could have sworn I left my bag by the door, but now it was near the window. I tried to tell myself it was nothing. Maybe I was tired, or maybe I just didn't remember moving it. But then, I heard it again. The bang. This time it was louder, like something or someone was upstairs. But when I went to check, nothing was there. Nothing at all. The house was silent, but that silence felt like it was pushing against me. I was starting to feel like I wasn't alone, even though I hadn't seen anyone. The quiet was oppressive, and the feeling of being watched was getting stronger. I didn't know why, but I couldn't shake the feeling that the man from the gas station was still around somehow. Every time I went outside, I could see him in the distance, standing by the trees, just staring at the cabin. I didn't know how he got there so fast, but he was there, watching, always. I tried to ignore it, but the feeling of being watched, followed, was getting stronger. I decided I needed to leave. I grabbed my things and started my car, hoping to get back on track and head home. But when I looked at the road, I realized something strange. The road that had once been open and clear was now blocked by trees. I thought I must have missed a turn somewhere, but the more I drove, the more I felt like I was going in circles. The trees seemed to close in, and the road just kept leading me back to the same spot. That was when I realized I couldn't leave. No matter which direction I went, I was trapped. I had been trapped by something, but I didn't know what. And then, I saw him again. The mechanic. He was standing at the edge of the woods, just watching me, like he had been waiting for me to notice him. His presence felt so heavy, I couldn't breathe. He didn't move. He didn't say anything. I drove faster, trying to escape, but the road twisted, looping back to the same place. I'm not sure how I got here or why I'm still here, but I know one thing. I'm not alone. The man from the station is still out there, watching. In some places, the road isn't the only thing that keeps turning, and sometimes the feelings of being watched will follow you, no matter how far you run. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more chilling tales.